At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 414, season 17. Today's date is March 8th, 2025. I got the year right. Thank goodness. And welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about my memories of a particular store. It was Tower Records, but the one in Schaumburg, Illinois. There was one downtown. I will discuss that later and talk about my memories of shopping there. Also, today is the 60th anniversary of a news team in Chicago. It consisted of Jim Ruddle and Gary Park, and they were the first anchor team up. And that happened on WGN-TV Channel 9. And I'll talk about how it got started, and I'll talk about those two gentlemen, where they came from, and where are they now. Okay, so this will be fun. All right, right now the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Archway Cookies. Remember those? They were very good. And this commercial is from 1979. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Some folks know about automobiles, and some folks know about shoes, and some folks know how to play the bassoon or how to chase the blues. But Grandma knows about cookies. She knows that subject well. And Grandma's sold on Archway, and she's a tough cookie to sell.
At Archway Cookies, we not only make them the way your grandmother used to, we sell them to her.
Yes, Grandma's sold on Archway, and she's a tough cookie to sell.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Archway Cookies. That commercial is from 1979. They're still being made. I'll explain the history of this real quickly. It was founded in Battle Creek, Michigan in 1936. And it was the founders were Harold and Ruth Swanson. The headquarters now is in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they became bakers, and they started with oatmeal cookies and donuts in their garage. And by the late 1940s, they discontinued baking donuts, and they focused on the cookies. So that's good. And by 1949, they had about 15 varieties of cookies. Then they expanded. They wanted to call it Swanson's, but there was Swanson frozen TV dinners at the time. So they changed it to Archway. So that's what happened. And then they're one of my favorite cookies of all time is oatmeal. I don't like regular oatmeal, like you eat in a bowl. Ugh, no thanks. So they were oatmeal, date-filled oatmeal, frosty lemon. I love that. That was good. Molasses and pecan icebox. And they were so good. They came in packages. And in 1962, they sold it to an employee, and then they expanded it. That's great. And so they're still around. So you don't see them heavily advertised. Like I said before, my favorite is oatmeal. The lemon one was good, but the oatmeal, you break it in half, you dunk it in a glass of milk, you're all set. It's so delicious. I think they made ice oatmeal cookies, but it's not sugar. But the oatmeal cookies were nice and soft. Some companies make them hard, and it's a little to break like that. Okay. All right. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about my memories of the Tower Record Store that was located in Schaumburg, Illinois, and also the first anchor team in Chicago were Jim Ruddle and Gary Park. I believe they were. I think so, and I think there were more. I could be wrong, but so this is the 60th anniversary where it debuted on WGN-TV Channel 9, and they had so they were there briefly. So I'll explain that later. Before I get started, I'm going to talk about a couple things. I had my operation this week. To remove the scar tissue, to stretch the scar tissue around my prostate area. It's not my regular urologist. It's another young man that I met I met him before. And he discussed he's going to put a balloon in there, to expand it, and then try a new drug. Now, if this works, if I go see him in 6 months, well, I'm going to see him next month anyway. But if like the regular checkup, we'll see how that goes. And then they'll do the cytoscopy. I don't know what that called. That looks inside your bladder. And so I had it operated. My brother took me. It went fine. And then I had to wear a catheter only for 2 days. So that wasn't bad. So yesterday, on Friday, I went there and the nurse practitioner removed it. I thought it was going to hurt like heck. But no, not really. It was like a snap. She told me just, you got to let your crotch area heal. And then you can start urinating. It'll hurt a little, but it'll take time. Okay. So my next appointment for chemotherapy is March 18th. This will be my 5th one. So I'm halfway there. Hopefully I can do just 6, but I'm scheduled for 10. We'll see how it goes. Okay. All right, let's get started. We're going to talk about Tower Records in Schaumburg. That store was located at 1209 East Gulf Road in Schaumburg. It was a huge place. A lot of people loved the one that was at 214 South Wabash. It was always there. And I don't know if this replaced Rose Records. I'm not sure. And people remembered the store when they were working in the Loop. They visited and they had records, LPs, maybe cassettes, maybe 8-track. I don't think so. CDs, tapes, and all that. They probably had imported records or hard to find albums. They also there were live performances that went there, maybe at Summit Schaumburg and probably the one downtown. And I think there was another one located in Lincoln Park. I think on Clark Street. I forgot exactly. I think Belden or something like that. Yeah, there was one there. I think they just had a total of 3. Now, I'll give you the history of this real quickly. So it started in 1960 in Sacramento, California. And it lasted for many, many years. And so they only sold like DVDs, compact discs, video games, posters, books, collectibles, anything you want. And around 2006, it closed. They start closing and all that, which is a shame. When I went to California, I visited Tower Record. I think it was by the Sunset Strip. I went there for, just to look around. Once I get into a bookstore or a record store, I don't leave. I just that's how I am. Excuse me. So in the year 2020, about 5 years ago, they announced they returned as an online retailer. And they plan to open physical locations, but I don't know if that happened. So let's see. Let's see what else. So there was a Tower Records in Lincoln Park. It was at I think on Clark Street. I'm not sure. Okay. And my memories of that is when I worked at American Express Travel from 1995 to 2007. I was very busy during the week. Mostly was Fridays, and it was nuts over there, And usually I stayed late, and then I don't go home, and I just want to get out of there. I finished my work and just want to get out of there because it was nuts that day. My head was full of things. It was noisy, crazy. So I've been going to Tower Records in Schaumburg. Wasn't far from my office, and just browsed. I just browsed, and I go in and I look at the CDs, I look at the magazines, and buy some. This is before we can do with iTunes, but I still have CDs. You can if they're very rare CDs that you can't find, but you found them there. Okay, so it took me about an hour, to look around, and so that place was huge. It really was, and so they would play music in the background, and I still miss this place to this day. I really do. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully they'll return, physical stores. But that's not easy, with everything online and brick and mortar doing that. Also, the store had a magazine called Pulse, and Pulse magazine. And it was published by Tower Records, and it would contain record reviews, interviews, and advertising. Like I said, it started in 1983, and it was published on a monthly basis. And the magazine was canceled in 2002, and that's when they start closing stores in a way. And there were 222 issues before appeared, and the last one was published December 2002, and that was it. And some people remember that. They remember the Pulse magazine, which is nice, So there's a few record stores, independent. There's Rolling Stone that's up at Irving Park, and I forgot where. I went there once years ago, and I like to go back again because it's one of its kind like that. There's Rock Records. There's a store downtown. I don't know if it's still there, and then there's independent. So, next month, I don't know. It's on a Saturday. It'll be National Record Day. And that's like you go there and you buy vinyl records. People still love vinyl. They have a record player. It sounds nice, for some reason. And it's very nostalgic to sit there and listen. I mean, it's okay to listen on your phone, go to YouTube, and just play. But this is how it was when I was a kid. You buy the latest album like that, which reminds me, I might talk about that tomorrow on the next podcast. All my record albums of the 1970s. This would be a cool topic. Yeah. Okay, I got one down. So that's great. That's good news like that. So, I still, like I said before, I miss the place. I really do. And I have bought a few things there, Okay, so right now I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to talk about the news anchor team of Jim Ruddle and Gary Park. Okay, just sit back and relax, everyone, and I'll be right back. Thank you.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Your snacking routine can get a little dull. Time for an Oikos remix or Light and Fit remix. Like a crunchy storm of sea salt praline pretzels, dark chocolate, and butter toffee, showering down into a smooth, creamy yogurt. Enjoy 6 remix varieties, 3 Epic Complete Protein Oikos remix options, or 3 craveable Light and Fit remix options. See remixyogurt.com.
Okay, everybody, I'm back. Now I'm going to talk about the first news anchor team. I believe it was the first. And that consisted of Jim Ruddle and Gary Park. And today is the 60th anniversary of their debut. And it was heavily advertised in the Chicago Tribune, I'm sure the Sun-Times. So they broadcast the news at 5:45 in the afternoon and at 10 o'clock at night. And, and then once that started, I believe the other TV stations, like Channel 2, Channel 5, Channel 7, they did that. Like I said, I don't know if they did this before that, but I believe this is the first of that. So, yeah, so it debuted on March 8th, 1965. And so I'm going to talk about Jim Ruddle. Yeah, so I'll talk about him. And he came to Chicago in 1965, and he teamed up with Gary Park. And then Jim Ruddle, I don't know how long he stayed there, maybe a couple of years in Channel 9, and then he moved over to Channel 5, WMEQ, and he was there for many years like that. And he also launched a show called Public News Center, and that was with John Calloway, and that was on Channel 11, WTTW. And then he left, and for a while as a new network correspondent for NBC News. Then he came back to Channel 5, and he stayed there till about 1986, and that was the end of his, I don't think he did any of the news later on. I think he just quit. So he was like, oh, that's enough. But I heard he's doing very well. He's an author. He's relaxing. He's also on Facebook. He is there. He's commented on my page or the group on Van Chicagoland. I used to see his name, and he's right there. I answered to him once, and I asked him, "How are you? And welcome to the page." And he said, "I'm fine, thank you." Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Gary Park. Before I talk about Gary Park, the news program only lasted about 2 years, and then Gary Park left. So I don't know if anyone else took over. I'm not sure, or maybe Jim Ruddle left and tried something else. I don't know the whole story. So Gary Park. He was born July 22nd, 1935. He would have been 90, same age as my mom. And so he was from Oakland. I don't know. Yeah, he was born in Stockton, California. And then he got in 1952, got active in drama and public speaking. And then he went on to San Jose State University. and he served in the Army for 3 years, from 1956 to 1959. Then he was sent to language school and became fluent in Arabic. And then he was stationed in Europe and Africa. And while he was in Ethiopia, he began broadcasting at the Army base radio station, and he did play-by-play broadcasts of baseball games. Oh, that's good. Then, when he was discharged from the Army, he returned to California, and he worked at Sacramento as a reporter and a news anchor. And so that's good. And then in 1965, he got a job offer from Channel 9. And then he moved to Chicago, and the name of the program is called Park-Ruddle News, and it was Chicago's first news team. Isn't that something? Yeah. So I wish I'd seen a clip of both of them. That'd be great to see that. Unfortunately, there isn't. So, and then he left in 1967, went back to California, and then he worked at a station, KTVU. It was Channel 2. I don't know what. It's probably San Francisco or something like that. And in the early 1970s, he became the sports director, and he became a play-by-play announcer for the San Francisco Giants. And he was there. He was there from 1974, and then he retired in 1987. He traveled with the team, and so he just retired. He was called in from time to time, like that. But so he never returned to Chicago. No, he didn't. So that's a shame, because I wish I've heard him speak. And unfortunately, he died on April 30th, 2009. So I'm reading off the obituary from the East Bay Times, like that. When I was a kid, I used to see kind of ads about them, and I would see Jim Ruddle advertised like that. And during the 70s, I did watch him on Channel 5. He was a great news anchor, great reporter. My mom liked him a lot. She really did. And so I think he was part of News Center 5. Do you remember that in the middle? I'm going to talk about that someday. Like News Center 5 with Carol Maureen. There was Chuck Henry. I think he's still in LA. I think he retired, and of course there was, who did the sports? I forgot. I don't know if it's Tim Weigel. I'm not sure. But the weather was Jim Tillman. And remember Jim Hill? He did the weather as well. Had to get some water. Excuse me. So that's a great memory of mine. I was too young when they debuted. I was about 1.5. Actually, so I was a baby. I didn't see this. I didn't see them like that. Okay. So that's it for this show. Let me do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about my memories of Tower Records, excuse me, in Schaumburg, Illinois. And also, 60 years ago today, it was the debut of the news team of Jim Ruddle and Gary Park. And so it was called the Park-Ruddle News, like that. I bet people in the 60s remember that name of the program. Okay. So this podcast will be published later on today, where podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast, maybe iHeartRadio. If you have any of these apps, just tap on them, tap follow, and you can listen to the latest episode or listen to previous episodes if you'd like. Also, it'll be shared on my blog, www.vanishchicagoland.blog. You can click on the link. It'll take you right there. It'll probably take you to the Spotify website. If you have a Spotify account, that would help. Also, it'll be published in my YouTube channel again and again. People ask me, where do I find your podcast? The other day, there were a couple women that asked me where my podcast, and I gave them the link. And I told them, so you type in Vanish Chicagoland Stories or my name, Pete Costanis, on the search engine. It'll take you right there. Click subscribe. You will receive notifications for the latest episode. If you'd like to listen to previous episodes, help be my guest. They're all there. Also be shared on my social media accounts, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. They will have the links. You can just copy them and it'll take you right there. So you can listen to them in your car or at home if you're exercising or just clean the house. I did that one time. And, on TV, if you have a Spotify account, you can listen, just relax, lie down on the couch, take it easy. So that's my advice for that. Yeah. Will I do another podcast tomorrow? Yes, I probably will. I would do one. I'd probably talk about my favorite albums in the 1970s. I would talk about that. That should be fun. And I got to think of another subject. So we will see. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is not a nice day. It's Saturday. And for me, I'm just going to, I'm still recovering, so I'm relaxing. So hopefully I'll maybe do a little exercise later on. I hope. Okay. So here is bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from our favorite person in the whole wide world, Ray Rayner, saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.